Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at one of the significant energies that is opening up in April 2021. And we're going to specifically talk about transiting Pluto and transiting Neptune, each moving to new territory in the zodiac wheel, and what this means for us, because it is significant. It is important energetically, and it means it's opening up some new potentials for us collectively and individually. So I'm going to talk about that in today's show, and also share with you some channeled messages around these changes and around what is shifting for us at a global level. Both Pluto and Neptune are important because they are the planets that are furthest away from us in our solar system. They are the ones that signify a deep, permanent change. And Pluto is associated with evolutionary growth, with your soul growth in this lifetime. That's because of how slowly Pluto moves, the deep, deep energies it opens up within us. Pluto has the ability to open us up to other lifetimes, to karma, to unresolved energies that we maybe have sensed or felt, and then Pluto brings it up right to our attention. Pluto is the energy of transformation, where you can take a fear, something that has really perhaps made you feel powerless, confused, something that has been a big theme for you across multiple lifetimes, and transform it. Turn it into a higher expression of yourself and permanently shift the energies for yourself across all lifetimes and all timelines. Pluto is very deep work. It is very intense and emotional. This is where we can feel out of control at a human level. And you could logically argue that control is an illusion anyways, but the energy of Pluto shows us where we do have power, and it brings us into the depths of our energy fields where we access more of our soul's potential and our soul's energy field. So transiting Pluto is always significant, and in April, the planet moves the furthest in Capricorn that it has so far, before stationing retrograde on April 27th. So Pluto is going to travel to 26 degrees of Capricorn in 48 minutes, nearly 27 degrees. And this means that as Pluto moves into new territory, there are new energies that get stirred up. Think of what's underneath the ground, what's underneath the surface, and how that energy of Pluto is going to dig in to some new turf and dig in to new parts of our energy field that we're collectively opening and experiencing for the first time at this level of consciousness. And that's also important when we're talking about the outer planets, because they move so slowly and their cycles take many, many decades to complete as they travel around the full zodiac. It's always significant when an outer planet goes to a new point, because not only are we opening up something here and discovering it, but we're at a new level of consciousness than where we were at the previous time the planet was at the same point. So the last time Pluto was at 26 and 27 degrees of Capricorn was during the American Revolution. So we're talking back in the 18th century, specifically we'll say about 1774 to 1777. And that's when Pluto was here, really bringing up these deeper issues of politics, government, business, how you establish a hierarchy, who's in charge, how is the system structured, all these bigger questions. And so now we have Pluto returning to the same point, which is not only significant for the country of the United States of America, but also for each of us individually as we look at our own internal energy systems around our need to feel mastery over ourselves, our lives, our world. And what does that mean at this point in your life? Meaning, when you step into Capricorn energies of being in charge, feeling in charge of yourself, feeling powerful for what you're here to manage and control in this lifetime. The Pluto in Capricorn energies can reveal to you perhaps where that power has been diminished or taken away, where other people have abused it or manipulated it, where you haven't felt strong to be in your power in your life, or perhaps even in certain areas of your life. For example, this could show up as your sense of power within your family, within the dynamics of your immediate family or your biological family. This can show up in terms of how you show up in your career or your profession, how you take full ownership for your responsibilities and your commitments, how you see something through and stick to it. These are energies that Pluto in Capricorn are really stirring up within us to offer us new avenues and opportunities to be in our power. But there is a little fine print at the bottom of the page, which is actually not little at all. And it's Pluto saying, but this brings up this energy from all lifetimes. And it brings up deeper cycles and deeper themes that maybe you weren't aware of. And oh yeah, it requires a lot of work. Meaning it requires the energetic work, emotional work, spiritual work. Perhaps this shows up as work you need to do in your life at a practical level where you're ready to make changes, you're ready to do something totally different, or you can feel yourself moving through a deep transformation. And this Pluto in Capricorn, however, will help you with the work because Capricorn is about staying strong for the long term. Capricorn assists us in our ability to tackle something strategically and realistically, how to see something through and how to plan for the future. So this Pluto in Capricorn is giving us the ability to make deep, permanent changes in ourselves and to stick with them, knowing that it's worth the accomplishment, it's worth the payoff, it's worth the reward, but it certainly is not easy. Now, we've had this Pluto and Capricorn energy since about 2008, so it's not new in terms of what the energies are, what the themes are, but it is new in terms of the area of your natal astrology chart that transiting Pluto is moving into now, where it's at that 26, nearly 27 degree point. So this is important to know and understand, especially if you have any planets or points at 26 degrees of the cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Or if you have any planets or points at 26 degrees of the earth or water signs. And these are energies of a deeper transformation that you're ready for at a soul level. So if you have any planets or points, and by points, I mean the points on your chart, which can be your ascendant, descendant, IC, or midheaven. Points can also be your north node and your south node. Points can also be the part of fortune and other parts of the chart that have certain calculations attached to them. And by the way, this does apply to all house systems. I personally have used Placidus, although at times I've used Coke, and I know that there are those who prefer whole house and equal house, and of course also Porphyry house system, which is used by evolutionary astrology. There's actually over 20 different house systems. There's some that are simply more well practiced and implemented. So whichever house system you use, just know that this transiting Pluto in Capricorn is opening up for each of us new areas of soul growth, but it will be more personal for you if you have any planets or points at that 26 degree mark. And again, the 26 degrees of earth or water signs would include Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces placements. As Pluto opens up new energies and new areas of our chart, this is where we change. This is where transformation happens. This is where you can feel and sense that something very deep is happening for you, that you're undergoing a deeper process, that there's more that you are looking at and transforming, and it can be something that you're just feeling or sensing. but then chances are you will start to experience these deep changes in your physical world, in your reality, because as the energy changes, so does our reality. And that is where we have big life changes. Now, at a collective level, this energy of Pluto is opening up some more information and messages for us to understand about the cycles that we're moving through in this lifetime. And this is where I'm feeling the intuitive messages come through pretty fast and pretty quickly, is that in April 2021 and the preceding months, there's going to be new priorities on the world stage. What we thought was really important or was really commanding a lot of attention is going to shift. There's going to be a new focus on what matters at this time. And this will continue to bring up issues of control in structures that have a strong hierarchy. So again, businesses, Wall Street, government, both at the local levels, like local county governments, but also the international levels where we're discussing and looking at what's happening at the world at large, but even more of what's happening behind the scenes. And there's so much happening behind the scenes right now that there's more information that's going to be revealed and coming out, because part of what we're opening up is the unresolved karma that individuals are invited. They are invited to work with. They are invited to resolve or to change the energies. It is an open invitation and it's based on free will. But this is also why many souls decided to take a body at this time and to show up on the planet and to be in certain roles. And I feel like these roles are very important, because the other thing that is opening up here is that we're moving into some powerful energy points that relate to Atlantis energies, that relate to the unresolved energy cycles that are potentially able to shift. Now, what we're doing at this time on the planet is, because there's so many souls here with lifetimes of experiences, like thousands of lifetimes of experiences, we've been energetically awakened to what we do not want to experience again. And that's partly what I feel is like encoded at a cellular level in our DNA. Like we have a sense of, I never want this to happen again, whether that is an event or a theme or something that you experienced in a previous lifetime. There's a sense of, I don't want that to be the same outcome. I don't want to go down that path. I'm here. I'm physically here, and I'm consciously here to create new potentials, new outcomes. And that's why there's a lot on the world stage that can be very confusing, because what I see it as, these different levels of consciousness that are connected to different souls who have different experiences on the planet. So it's basically this big hodgepodge of energies, which you're aware of. That's nothing new. But there's different soul groups, it looks like, collectively steering energies. It's like there's some soul groups who are steering the energies up higher, some who are not moving the energy at all, like they're very stagnant and stuck. Some that are steering the energies, I'm going to say, down. It's like the downward spiral energies. And then some that are really just open. Their energy's very open and holding a higher frequency and vibration. So almost like they're not trying to steer anything, but they are opening up energies. So take what resonates. You might feel that you're tapping into a certain energy field here. But what I'm getting the visual of is that there are so many souls on the planet who came in with very strong intentions. And they came here to really understand what was crucial to them at an individual soul level, but also at a higher collective level of consciousness. So as we move through April, and actually as we move through the rest of 2021 into the next number of years of this decade, priorities are going to be radically shifting for a number of people, where you're just no longer interested in certain things. You're no longer interested in playing a game, if you will, or in participating in certain energies or contributing to certain experiences. It's like it has this energy of a permanent shift in your priorities that I feel for many people, especially for those of you who identify as starseeds, light workers, you've felt a resonance with Atlantis, you've felt a connection to some very deep soul experiences. I feel like you are getting more downloads that are steering you away from, we'll call them 3D matters or matrix issues, like things that seem really important. I feel like there's a steering away from that. And there's something that you are building for yourself that is new, that is different, that is actually part of your soul contract with yourself. Because what I'm seeing is a contract between you and your soul. Like, this is what I contracted to do in this lifetime for my own soul growth. And it does pertain to the Capricorn energies and the Capricorn areas of your chart. So this transiting Pluto in Capricorn is deeply and permanently changing you based on the house it's traveling through in your natal chart, be it first house, second house, third house, etc. That's the area of life that is deeply changing for you as you have fine-tuned and stepped into more of your purpose since 2008, which is when Pluto first went into Capricorn. So this is very important to look at how far you've come in your Capricorn energy and growth, the mastery, the experience of, I feel it as like the truth of who you are. And Capricorn is about contracts. It's about what we agree to in our commitment. So there is that strong soul contract understanding that's underneath what we feel we have to do. It's feeling compelled to do something in your life, to move towards something. It's almost like if you left the planet and you weren't able to do this thing or these multiple things, a part of you would maybe feel a little empty, a little disappointed, a little sad, kind of like, but this is why I came in the first place. This is what I really wanted to do, because I feel like this energy, whatever it might be for you, this can be very personal and very specific. It's something where you've felt a vibrational pull towards an important agenda item in this lifetime. And I feel like for many people, because this is in Capricorn, it's about how we show up in the world, how we present ourselves in the world, and what matters to us in terms of how we honor our own mastery. So yes, this can absolutely be about your career, your profession, where you're here to contribute, or what you're here to do in the world at large on a bigger scale. It feels like this energy is embedded in us, and that we would feel the activations at certain points, at certain energy points. And so the activations would have also been last year in 2020, when both Jupiter and Saturn reached this 26-degree point of Capricorn, and maybe brought something to your awareness to prepare you for now what you're transforming. And so Jupiter and Saturn danced around this part of your chart throughout 2020, starting in February. That's when Saturn was at 26 degrees of Capricorn, and then returned to this point in your chart later on in the year, specifically August 2020, and then again in October and November 2020. So there have been openings here that you've already been working on. Something came to your awareness in 2020 that is a priority, that's important to you at a much deeper level of your being. And if you're uncertain or unclear what that might be, ask. Ask your team. Ask God, Source, Spirit, the universe for greater clarity, for messages, for something concrete to come through and be revealed to you. Because whatever is shifting for you in April of 2021 is part of cosmic divine timing, where you're tapping into even more of your own potential in this lifetime. It's important to note that when you tap into this energy at a personal level for yourself, when you're literally speaking to your own energy field, to your own cells, and to your own DNA about this energy, you are activating yourself. You're activating what that soul contract to yourself might be. You're activating more of your own strength and power. You're activating deeper consciousness that resides within you. So trust this, again, especially if it's important for you, if you have those planets or points at 26 degrees. Now, because the retrograde is at nearly 27 degrees of 27 degrees of Capricorn, the planets in your chart at 27 degrees are going to feel the rumbling, but because Pluto moves so slowly, it's not quite an exact connection yet, although again, you're going to feel the ripple effects. Those planets or points at 27 degrees are going to feel the energy of Pluto approaching, but because Pluto then goes retrograde back to 24 degrees of Capricorn, the energy isn't going to be strong until 2022 for those planets at 27 degrees of Capricorn. So just to explain that and to keep that in mind. Now, the other thing to be aware of here is that with Pluto, we have to remember that we did agree to make some powerful permanent changes in this lifetime, and that we are then grounding the energy in a timeline. So be very intentional with your energy and where you're directing it, because again, I feel like we want to direct it higher, meaning the spiral of energy can take us higher, but the conundrum with Pluto is that it feels like it takes us down at first, where you're being pulled by your ankle into the underground energies or underground realms. But this is so that you can see what needs to be transformed and to take it with you. So it is often a zigzag experience. It's not linear with Pluto. It's a back and forth and up and down, and it can feel quite dramatic at times or quite emotional, but it's helping to really purge and move fears. It's like there's fears, limitations, struggles. There's things that are moving here that have prevented you from honoring your own soul contract to yourself. And what I'm feeling as an overall theme here is that many people are looking at or understanding where they have held back their own truth and their own power in the world. Where, let's say you are really gifted with something, and I'll use an example of a healer, because I know many of you are healers, you're intuitives, you're readers, you have a lot of talents and skills. And even if you are none of those things, what you're being shown is that the energies want you to step into more of your own essence and light without compromising for others. And then this is where we have issues in the status quo, because then you're changing the dynamic. You're no longer allowing something to be okay, or you're speaking up, or you're saying, I can do this, I'm good at this. You're demonstrating more of who you are, of what your gifts are, of what you're good at. There's a stepping into more of our personal power that was either taken away in other lifetimes, or something tragic happened where it created a trauma around being in your power. And I'm seeing this as like a ball of light that is encased in a very wounded or darker energy. And it's moving through whatever that energy is. So again, it feels like this is the test or the growth. This is where things are really ready to shift, is that you're looking at where you've unintentionally or perhaps unconsciously held back your power because there's a trauma from another lifetime associated with it, or there's some kind of energy associated with it that feels heavy or burdensome. And so this could be something for you to sit with or ask for guidance around. What is my trauma or limitations around being in my power? And see what comes up for you. See what is revealed or what messages come through. This could also be something that comes through over a number of days or weeks, where you ask the question and then something comes in and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly it. I'm getting the visual actually of, you ask the question and then you see something on TV or in a movie or in a book that plays out and you deeply resonate with it. You're like, oh my goodness, I think this is what happened to me in another lifetime. Or this is the issue. This is what I'm struggling with about my own power. And I'm also feeling, because we're talking about Capricorn here, it can be related to anything with a father figure, especially a father in another lifetime, a role model, a mentor, someone who is in charge, someone who had more authority than you, and how they perhaps abused that power over you. And maybe perhaps this was you in this role, and you abused the power over someone else. There's so many ways these energies can play out, but keep in mind that what we always can do is transform. And that's part of what we're being gifted with through this Pluto energy. Now, I also want to touch on the significance of transiting Neptune, because over the next few months, transiting Neptune also moves into new territory in Pisces, where in April 2021, it moves to 22 degrees of Pisces, and then in May and June, it moves to 23 degrees of Pisces. New energies opening up here as Neptune moves through its home sign of Pisces, but also is sextiling Pluto in Capricorn. So when the outer planets are in a harmonious conversation, when they are working together as they do in a sextile, there is support, there's mutual support. And so this Neptune in Pisces is opening up more energies connected to your intuition, your higher self, your spiritual lessons, and your spiritual growth. And it's bringing in this new information for you that is helping you see the bigger picture and helping you to flow through these changes and to move with greater grace and trust, as this Pluto in Capricorn requires more from us. So we have the support of this lovely Neptune in Pisces that allows us to even relax, to just trust what's happening, because I feel like this Neptune in Pisces is directly connected to the higher self's domains, where our higher self is aware of what we're moving through and how big it is, that it's actually quite significant, especially at a soul level, that this is really big stuff here. And Neptune first moved into Pisces back in 2011. And with that entrance into the 12th sign of the zodiac, we were invited to just let go and to allow things to be removed from our life, to trust that things have to dissolve in order to come back together again, that letting go is necessary, that change is necessary. And so what I'm also feeling at a very deep level is that this Neptune in Pisces is reminding us to be compassionate with all souls on the planet. And I feel this at a very high level. In fact, the energy feels so loving, so kind. It's a very high benevolence energy. It almost brings tears to my eyes because it's so gentle. And it reminds us that this planet can be home to a wide spectrum of energies that are oftentimes very uncomfortable, that are perhaps very heavy, and we can lose hope. We can lose hope in ourselves and in our own journeys. We can feel disappointed. We can feel like we don't know what to do. We don't know what's it about. Kind of these, they're like deeper messages that have us questioning, what's this all about? Why am I even here? What does this matter? What's even going on? And I feel like this Neptune in Pisces is giving us opportunities to keep rising up, to keep spiraling up, and to keep returning to a place of deep compassion for ourselves and for all beings on the planet, which is very difficult for our human selves. And in fact, it's not something that everyone wants to do or everyone can do. It's an energy of detachment. It's meant to be they're showing me the energy of equilibrium. It's meant to be a place of floating in peace that balances out the hardships and struggles of our physical reality. This is why anything we can do to get out of our brains, out of our monkey minds, and out of our own mental spinning is very important, because that's where we then connect to these higher realms and these higher frequencies. It's why guided meditations can be very important. Anything that helps direct the mind to these higher frequencies is very good for energetically balancing ourselves. Anything that supports our ability to detach and to remind yourself, this is only one lifetime, this is only one timeline, this is only one expression of my soul's energy field. And I also feel like as this Neptune moves forward into new degree points of Pisces, we're going to open up to new lifetime experiences. I mean, I'm seeing it as these other places that we've experienced reality or physical reality. We've had lifetimes that maybe you haven't tapped into before. And I'm feeling these as soft energies. Very Lemurian energies, which we're celebrating divine feminine and peace and harmony with the land, harmony with all elements and the elementals. I'm feeling this as an opening into other realms, and now they're even showing me that as we move through this Neptune and Pisces, we are opening up to more of the values of Lemuria, but also there's other planets that hold these same energies that are very present right now. And they're showing me that movie, is it Avatar? With other beings. And it's almost like reminding us that there are other places, it feels outside of our galaxy, although it could be in our galaxy, that hold these frequencies regularly. In fact, this is part of their own spectrum of experiences. So we are tapping into more realms, more energies that are literally out of this world, but that help to balance the experiences and energies of this lifetime on this planet. And they're saying that if you want to visit these places, if you want to go to these other destinations and timelines and realms, to simply set your intention to do so, and that you could have experiences, especially in your dream state, where you might not even remember the traveling to other realms or the energy exchange, but there's something that can happen if you set your intention before you go to sleep to energetically balance yourself and to have access to these other energetic experiences. So it's interesting because what I'm feeling is that the Pluto and Capricorn energies do bring up more of the Atlantis energies, whereas this Neptune and Pisces is bringing up more of the Lemurian themes and values. And so what we have here are experiences of divine feminine and divine masculine energies that have the ability to reach a new harmony within each of us, that can energetically clear out old patterns, old values, old ways of being that no longer resonate with us. And I'm feeling like we have the opportunity to call in the best and highest expressions of these other experiences. So we'll call it the best and highest expressions of the Atlantis consciousness, which is where we valued technology and evolution. We valued what could be scientifically created and how humanity could advance. There was a value on these energies and how we could do so without the destruction. And then we couple that with the energies of Lemuria, of the divine feminine, of being in grace and harmony, of cooperation and connection, of being open and flowing, of how that alone can be very healing for our systems. So I'm feeling like April is bringing in these new energetic codes that can help you return to what your soul contract with yourself may be in this lifetime. And it could be many, many themes that you agreed to. But I feel like there is energy here that's culminating, that's accelerating, that's showing you deeper messages, deeper understandings of why you're here on the planet now. And it is that vague, but also that personal, because it does need to be self-verified. I think this is very personal, in fact, where only you know or you feel it. Perhaps you're even not quite ready to articulate it. It's forming or it's coming together. But this is a significant cycle that we're entering. And again, it's about priorities shifting. There's things that are changing starting in April 2021 that are going to play out over the next few years. So if you're sensing that in yourself, you are right on time. If you are ready for it, if you're open to it, then you might also see these changes show up, or simply you feel them at a very deep level of your being. I also feel like this Neptune and Pisces energies are helping us rise above what we've been moving through, where there's a part of you that maybe doesn't want to focus on things that you've been focused on. You're ready to let that go, to step back, to detach. So trust that if that's what you're feeling, because it means that your energy is redirecting you in a new way or to a new area of focus where you're ready to grow and move forward, especially with the assistance of your higher self. So individually, we are all working with these energies, and it does depend on your invitation to work with them as well as your willingness. Keep in mind that this is important for each of us individually, but also at a collective level, there are some big changes starting in April 2021. And just to touch on them briefly, these energies pertain specifically to the United States of America. And on my YouTube channel, I have a playlist for you with 4 videos talking about the upcoming American Revolution. And those energies really start in April, as this Neptune at 22 degrees of Pisces opposes the natal Neptune in Virgo at 22 degrees in the USA chart. So there's something very important happening starting in April around the energies of Pisces and Virgo. And so this can show up certainly through health issues because of how Neptune in Virgo is about the body, what we're healing, the energies of what we are experiencing in the body. This can relate as well to our daily habits and routines. Virgo is about our service to others, our service to ourselves, the work we do every day. And now we have this opposition from Neptune and Pisces that is making things very confusing and very uncertain. And it's what we can't see. It's what we don't know, but we're trusting or we're feeling it. So I do talk about this more in that playlist if you want to check it out on YouTube. The other important thing that's happening in the USA chart is that transiting Jupiter in Aquarius is going to make a conjunction to the USA's natal moon at 27 degrees of Aquarius. This is a 12-year cycle, so it's the first time in 12 years that Jupiter has been conjunct the moon in Aquarius. And in a chart such as for a country, the moon is the public. The moon is the people. It's us. And it's how we experience each other. And it's how we connect, especially through community. So that conjunction is going to be towards the end of April. And then it will happen 2 more times in 2021. So this could be something advantageous or expansive for the public. This could be related to the opening of more services, more things that are starting to show up. And it could sometimes be good news. There's, of course, that energy of generosity and what is beneficial associated with Jupiter. So we shall see what transpires throughout April in the US of A, because the chart for the country is strongly activated starting in April and moving into the next few years. Well, I hope that this podcast episode has been beneficial and given you some good things to think about and sit with, as well as energies to be aware of as we move throughout April and into the rest of 2021. We are going to see shifts in priorities, new things coming forward that call our attention that are big. I mean, this is a big deal. It's not just something that you think of on Monday and you forget about on Tuesday. This is an energy cycle that is reminding us of why we're here, reminding us that we're here for very important reasons. And what I'm feeling too is that we are being activated to step into more of our own energy. So I hope you're feeling that and sensing that. And I hope that this reminds you to be in your power, to be in your light, and to be very aware of how you are choosing to direct your energy at this time. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I will be back for another episode every Monday and Wednesday, and I hope that these podcast episodes continue to resonate with you and support you on your journey. I'm so very grateful for all of you who listen regularly. And for those who connect, you can find out more about me over at mollymccord.online, which is where I offer a variety of online courses for astrology and business development, especially for those of you who are getting going with your online business or practice. I wish you a very beautiful day ahead, and I hope that you continue to trust yourself and this very wild ride we are on together. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.